Alright, talent breakdown here. So, Hawkeyes, my man. Let's go with the talents first, and then we'll get into the philosophy behind them. So in the arms tree, I like, a lot of people go 2 of 5 here. I like 5 of 5 deflection. You want to get your parry haste as high as possible. I've had people tell me that parry doesn't work the same in PvP, but man, it's nice having above a 10% parry score. So right now I'm at 13.28%, which is really nice. 5% of that's coming from deflection, right? So without that, I'd be at, but with the 2 points, I'd be 3 points lower, and I'd be around 10% winner. So yeah, that parry's really nice for more than one reason. Not only does it make you harder to kill because you parry stuff, your parry has a thing where it does a swing reset timer. So on your weapon, if you are yeah, it's all good. Love. Let's see. So yeah, parry, excuse me. So the parry haste mechanic in PvP works just like a boss mechanic does for parry hasting, in that if your weapon swing timer is 40% or more, so 40% or higher done, if you parry someone, you get a free white hit without having to wait out the extra 60% or X amount of percentile after the 40. So that is why... Hey, what's up, Stables? So that is why you really want your parry haste mechanic going off in PvP. Every once in a while, dude, I'll just hit someone with 3 white hits, and it's like, well, I've done a white hit off my parry haste, then I hit them with my normal white hit about a second later, which makes no sense. So the only thing that happens there when I'm doing that, because as you can see, it's a 3.8 weapon swing, I'm getting 4 to 3 white hit swings off when I parry someone, and it's giving me more white damage, not to mention the amount of rage and everything. So parry's really nice. You always want that and just face somebody to get it. Dodge kind of goes along with parry too, and let's check out our dodge rating. So my dodge is really high too, 15%, yeah. And that's where this general stuff comes in, or not this generals. The Dreadnought gear comes in, right? So plus 14 defense, plus 10 defense is worth like 0.34% parry. So each point of defense is worth 0.034% parry. I think around the same for dodge. So I'm stacking all this defense here, and then I go over to my skills, right? Let's go check our defense. So we're at 382. Yeah, bosses are at 365 at level 63. So I'm essentially a level 64.5 mob that you have to hit in PvP. And yeah, PvP, it doesn't, like, people can still crit me. I haven't pushed their crushing blows off the table. There's no crushing blows, or there's no crushing blows in PvE, but there's also no way to, like, keep someone's yellow hit from hitting you. But the defensive score, every once in a while, the white hits just do nothing. And that's great. Alright, so that's the parry, that's the philosophy behind going with 5 points in deflection there. We don't have anything over here for more defense though. Nothing in the prot tree, right? So you gotta go 5 of 5 tactical mastery. You absolutely need tactical mastery. Tactical mastery is just too strong of a talent to not have 5 points there. And obviously, you got to go down deep wounds and pale after that. Anger management is really nice. It says increases the time required for your rage decay while in combat by 30%. What they don't say is in like patch 1.7 or 1.9, some patch before TBC. They made anger management to where it also generates like 1 rage every 2 or 3 seconds while in combat. So this is a great talent to have, and you come over to Fury and you combine it with Unbridled Wrath, which a lot of people say sucks. And it kind of does, until you couple it up with your anger management. And now before you know it, you've got 1 or 2 rage points here, 1 or 2 rage points there, and you never know when you need 2 more points of rage. The other philosophy, some people like going with improved charge. I don't... As a good warrior, you should get 1 charge off, and you should be able to kill people while in combat already. Charges are great, but like you're not going to get your charges off every time in BGs, so it's best to just leave those talents alone from the charge. You only get 3 extra rage points anyways. There's 1 rage in 2 seconds, and then you have a 40% chance here every time you deal melee damage. So you combine those two, it ends up being alright. So from there, obviously Impale, no-brainer. I used to go 1 of 2 improved overpower. I'm now 2 of 2 improved overpower. It's just too nice of a talent to have. Like, just for rogues. If I miss you, I just love knowing that my next hit is about to be 1,500 damage on you. There's nothing you can do about it. The only weakness is you can only do your overpower every 5 seconds. So it's like the devs knew how strong that move was. So I put 2 of 2 there now, and then so I come over here. I've got a Might of Menethil. Yeah. So I go 5 of 5 2-handed weapon specialization. They give me 5% damage on top of everything, and this is something I would do with the mom. And honestly, it's hard to do this with the other specs. Because Axe Specialization, you get your 5% crit, you need that. That's just worth its weight in gold. And then Ashbringer, or Ash Candy. Gotta have sword spec. That's the whole point of having the sword, so you can like hit people 3 or 4 times over, you know, and have fun with your Hodge and Wind Fury. So this is the only spec with the mace, in my opinion. Mace Specialization is 2 of 5. People love Mace Specialization at 5 of 5. I can't count on it. So I don't like it as much as like I used to and stuff. Like if I had the Unstoppable Force, yeah, 5 of 5 Mace Specialization all day. Let's magnify the amount of stuns we're giving people. But with Mom, forget stunning you. If I can 2 or 3 shot you, that's better than stunning you. So that's what we're going after with the Mom thing. And I'll get to how I'm able to 2-shot people in a second. There's something in the Fury Tree that allows me to do that pretty easily, and it's a lot of fun. You need a lot of stamina and defense to abuse that mechanic, though, which is, we already covered the stamina and the defense part. I'll get into why when I get on this next page. So obviously you gotta have Mortal Strike. I'm not even gonna get into that. But, well, I will get into it a little bit. The cool thing about Mortal Strike, you gotta read the yellow writing here. It does weapon damage plus 85. Okay? So weapon damage, you don't need any amount of attack power. It's going based off what your weapon does. So that's how I'm able to get away with a bit more defense. It's like, I'm relying on Mortal Strike to do the majority of my damage. Yeah, my Whirlwind and other stuff occasionally does some damage, sure. But we're big, nasty Mortal Strikes. Come up, punch them in the face, make them rethink their strat. That's what you want to do. I do 1 of 3 improved hamstring because you need 1 point there to at least have the thing proc. I used to do 3 of 3 and like 1 of 5 here, 2 of 3, and honestly, I went 2 of 5 mace specialization because it gives you a bit more mace stun. When you see it, it's like, aha, Yahtzee'd out on you. It's a fun time. Improved hamstring. I'm always hamstringing, so I might as well have that point there. And I've got the General's Gloves, which is 7 rage cost for hamstring. So yeah. Alright, that's the arm side. That's the philosophy behind the arm side. Now the Fury side of the tree, we already covered the first 2. So, in my opinion, you need Piercing Howl. I love Piercing Howl. I use it over Demo Shout because, well, 1, it doesn't have a target limitation, and 2, it slows, the movement speed slowed by 50% is great for if you world PvP, if you need to run away from a group of people. And it's good for getting rogues out of stealth. Like, I really like hitting them with the Piercing. It's not as good as Demo for rogues out of stealth, but I feel like it makes up for things in the other areas. Blood Craze, because I have the stamina, I've got to go 3 of 3 here. Blood Craze, just more stamina, 3% after a critical strike, about 80 a tick, 84 a tick at my stamina. 1 of 5 Battle Shout just to get into the next one, and then okay. So here is the interesting part of my spec build. This Enrage proc, 5 of 5, it gives you a 25% melee damage bonus on top of everything. So what this means is when you get critted, right, it says after being the victim of a critical strike, you get 12 swings or 12 seconds at plus 25% top-end damage, which is huge. Yeah? That's on top of all the other percentages I have. Now, a lot of guys, so if you're sword spec, I would recommend 3 of 5 here and then 2 of 2 here. That's just sword spec, though. Any other, like Axe, Mom, etc., right here, 5 of 5 Enrage procs. And that lets you basically use your stamina pool as a giant crit build. Where like, so Hetfield or another fire mage does a lot of Palm Pyro. Hits me for 3k. Bam, Enrage proc. So I would life-giving gem health pot to get my health back to like 95%. And now I've got my Enrage proc where if I hit you, so I used to do, I think, 1700 damage on Might of Menethil with a Mortal Strike. Well, now I'm doing 2200 damage. Is that right? 1600, a fourth. Yeah, I'm doing, 2,000 to 2,100 damage, not 22. And at that point, like, you just start two-shotting everything. If it's a clothy, it's going down unless it's like a priest or something. So that's what you want there. Now, talents out of the way. Let's come over here and let's look at our gearing, which is just as important as talents. I kind of got into the gearing a bit earlier. We'll get into it a bit more now. Stamina is king. In PvP, you need stamina. Well, if you need stamina, it stands to reason you need some kind of gear that also makes your stamina hard to eat through. So, I could have all the stamina in the world, and if I'm a Chansey from Pokemon, and someone hits me and it gouges me 80% of my life every time, I haven't won that fight. Versus, like, if I'm more like a Snorlax build, which is huge stamina and huge defense still, I can take hits all day, I can hit my rest button, I can hit Snore on you. You know, I can go a lot longer, a lot harder. How does Donkey start every BG with a full rage bar? You know, I know Donkey, and I don't know. I don't know. Unless you're talking about, like, at the start of the battle, everyone gets a full rage bar now. You make me look this up. I don't generate full rage. So, let's see. Generate full rage for your tirade with this one easy trick. Okay. Maybe he kills rats? There's no rats at the beginning, though. Oh, wow. So if you demo shout on some rats, it runs away when it expires. The rats run back, and they evade all attack while running back to the original spawn, and on the way back, you can hit it and rage pull. That's not what Donkey's doing. I don't know how Donkey's starting with 100 rage. I don't know of any items that just give you rage, and I don't think he would pop a rage pod at the start. Maybe he... I don't know. Yeah, that is weird. Watch him and see if he's popping a rage pod at the start to just basically have plus 75 strength for the first fight. That's the only thing... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see a PvPer doing that. Especially with how expensive they are. So I don't know. I know Donkey, and I haven't met him in Discord or anything, but like I've played against him at least 30 or 40 times. Yeah, I don't know. I do know that him, Donkey, oh man. Donkey, there's another Night Elf, Ichibei, and Chucky Steele. All three of those Alliance players gear out eerily similar to Sugefoot here, which is the defensive gear. I don't think they, like... So, back to the gear. As we digress, excuse me. Back to the gear. I don't know how he gets a rage pot. I'll have to ask him or something like that if I see him. I'll DM him on disc. So, we go back to the gear, yeah. We got our Dreadnought helm. We got our 4-piece Dreadnought. Anything more than a 4-piece, you're sacrificing way too much damage and way too much, how do I say this? Utility, I guess, for your other stats. Versus, like... So 5 pieces of Dreadnought, that's too much defense. 3 or 4 pieces, that's about where you want. 4 pieces for Alterac Valley because you get your improved chance to hit with your taunt, challenge, and shout on your mobs. There is a better shoulder piece, the Pauldrons of the Unrelenting. They drop off of, I think, Thancred and AQ40 or something like that. But you cannot underestimate the amount of morale killing, I guess. Intimidation. What would it be from Pokemon? Like the Leer effect of the Dreadnought gear. So the helmet, the shoulders, and the High Warlord set matches good. People don't know that I mean, unless you know exactly what you're looking at. They don't know that I'm in the High Warlord pants and gloves. So a lot of people will copy and they'll just do straight T3. If you don't have the General's gloves, Gauntlets of Steadfast are fine. Just get a weapon chain. So there's the 4-piece, and I go with the defensive neck because, once again, plus 10 defense, massive. And this one also has plus a percent dodge and hit. So, that's just a good item. Eventually, maybe I'll get a plus 24 stam. That's the crit one, but then I'm losing my defense, and, like, the amount of times I'm 1v3ing, like you love your defensive score. So there's that on the neck. On the cloak, I actually go with the Cloak of the Golden Hive. It is the best of all worlds when it comes to defense +6, so it's only +1 defense lesser than the cloak from Nax. And the cloak from Nax has a dodge on it. But once again, like I've already got the 4 pieces T3. I don't need any more dodge, and I can put a percentage dodge on this sucker anyways. Let me find the, there it is. It's on the noob. Crypt Fiend Silk Cloak. I mean, yeah, that's plus percentage hit, plus percentage dodge, +7 defense, but 19 stamina to 14 stamina. Once again, anytime you get in a piece of gear where it's like, oh man, this has a lot of green chat on it. It looks like it could have a lot of extra stuff. 203 armor in green, equips in green. You go back and you look at your stamina to be the tiebreaker, and 50 health, yeah, give it to me. I'm only missing 1D, and I'm getting half a percentage of crit out of that via the 10 agi. Sure, I'll take it. Versus over here, I'm getting no attack power. Right, I think 26 attack power. What is it here? Yeah, 26 attack power from the strength. No attack power here. No agi here. And less stamina. So that's the only reason I don't go with the Crypt Fiend Silk Cloak. I don't even think I've ever bought it. But that being said, if I were you, Hawk, I would rock the Crypt Fiend Silk Cloak. I would just go max defense. I would, until you were able to get like Girdle of the Mentor, a few other pieces that would up your crit score rather highly. Because the skills, all this is important, but you got to have around 25% crit in your Berserker stance, yeah. Otherwise, the spec just... when you get below 20% crit on this spec, it just stops working. I mean, sure, you still kill people, but you just don't do the damage against other people who have gear. Versus at this level, you do. Still do damage to everybody, and you really kill the nubs. So, yeah. The crit score is important. It'll get around for a lot of your attack power. And sure, like, I don't have that much attack power here, but we're above 1,000, and that's all you need to start banging people in PvP. Keep it to where you can get above 1,000, 800 pre-battle shout. After battle shout, you want to be above 1,000. And that will also govern the amount of tanky gear you have. Because you do want some attack power. You can't get around all your attack power, which is crit. So, moving past that. Wrist Guards of Vengeance. Yeah, there's Dreadnought Pauldrons here. Or Bracers, excuse me. 28 stamina. 37 after the +9. I've got 19 stamina here. But just to get the percentage of crit and 48 attack power out of my wrist, it's worth wearing the Wrist Guards of Vengeance here. Yeah, that's so much stamina, so much +D, but like, I could probably, but you see, the problem is if I put these on and then I put like my General's boots on, all I've done is replace like a percentage of crit with half a percentage of crit and some hit. So it's not, it's very gear dependent as to what you have to slide in that slot. Obviously, D-flash stuff, you're going to need that. Girdle of Mentor, obvious here. If you have an Onslaught Girdle, you wear that one too. Those are both really good. I prefer the one with more crit, more stamina, obviously. But you could make like an Arms Prot. Yeah, that's right. Arms Prot Orc with Last Stand, Life-Giving Gem, and go pure attack power / defense. Forget stamina. And you would use your Life-Giving Last Stand to kill people and screw them whenever they got close to killing you. I've got a buddy who had all the gear in the world. He would do Arms Prot as Orc. And you stack your Defiance. So if you're an Orc, you'd come over here in Protection. Yeah? And you stack your Iron Will to 5. So you get your 15% from Iron Will on top of your Orc racial ability to resist. And before you know it, dude, a pally stuns you, does nothing. It's crazy cool. And you got the toughness from armor. So, I mean, you would just be a juggernaut. You come down to get Last Stand. I would go Anticipation there to get your defense up even higher. And then, yeah, Last Stand over to Iron Will, and then put the rest of the points 5. Oops, sorry. I would put 5 points in there, and then I would dump the rest of my talents down here. That would be Arms Prot, and that works as Orc. And now Troll, actually, you could do Fury Arms as Troll, and as long as you got an arms warrior in your group, you just pop your troll racials and your death wish and you just bust people down. So yeah. Onslaught Girdle, moving around with Girdle and Mentor, interchangeable pieces there. You need one or the other though. Any other belt is just not going to do it for you. General's Gauntlets and General's Plate Leggings for me here. So it's real important that you notice the set piece for 2. Not only is improved for crit and hamstring rage cost reduced by 3, which is huge because I'm always using hamstring. Unless you know you're going to 2-shot someone via your Mortal Strike and your White Hit, your first global should always be a hamstring. You got to keep them at the buffet table if you want to feed them. That's what hamstring does. Now, the General's Plate Leggings, 2% crit, dude. Oh, man. I mean, these are just a good pair of pants. And then the most important part of it is you see down there the set for wearing 2 pieces of the High Warlord's battle gear. You get plus 20 stamina. And that alone just makes these two, like, I gotta have 2 pieces on at all times to get an extra plus 20. So yeah, there's the General's gear. Dreadnought Sabatons, we've been into that. I mean, I really like, it's not that bad, but stamina's huge, you know, compared to like these. It's giving me 120 more health. So my rings are very interesting. Yeah, you got your Dreadnought rings. Once again, it's the same problem I have with the, excuse me for a second, with the Crypt Fiend Silk Cloak, yeah? Great piece for like one thing you're trying to do, but terrible at the other things you want to do, right? So Dreadnought, great, and if you don't have another ring, Dreadnought's not a bad ring to throw in there, for heaven's sake. Put it in there, you know? If you're running a 3-piece, throw in your Dreadnought ring. I mean, sure, it doesn't count for a 4-piece, but you've got your stamina and your defense and your dodge there. And it's got plus 10D on that. That's another 0.34% parry dodge. Yeah, and I think block, but block gets taken up so much by strength you don't even count your defense that adds to block. So, Dreadnought Ring and Archimitros Ring of Reckoning, excuse me. 28 stamina and 14 agi, nearly a crit and 28 stam. Best crit/stam ratio in the game in the ring sector. So I grabbed that. Another ring you could probably wear would be Ring of the Karaji Fury. I mean, that's 12 stamina. You know, sure, you're giving up 160 health there, but you're also getting 40 attack power and a solid percentile of crit. And that's big. There's also the ring you get from AQ20 is plus 14 stamina, plus 1% crit and some strength. That one's really good too. And honestly, I don't know. Like, if I didn't have Archimitros Ring of Reckoning, I'd probably wear that. And if I didn't have this one, I'd wear the Dreadnought. So you're probably wondering why I have the Signet Ring of the Bronze Dragonflight. What are Bis rings? Bis Stam. Bis rings from Koi. Here, we got a question. So, in my opinion, well, obviously your Stam Bis rings would be your Archimetros Ring of Reckoning, and then your Ring of the Dreadnought. And look, that takes me up to 7569, and what? I'll throw on some more stamina here. So now I'm at 7758. And I think that's nearly as high as I can go in this particular build. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's a pretty high stamina build, but once again, it's not worth it. Bis PvP. Okay. So Bis PvP, this is going to be highly dependent. There's not so much like a solid rubric of Bis gear for warriors. For my spec, the Bis gear here would be, I think there's 4 rings you could choose from. The 2 I have on, added with the Dreadnought ring, and then either you would alternate either the Ring of the Karaji Fury or that AQ20 ring. That's really good. Those would be your 4 best Bis rings for PvP. I'm trying to think of, is there any kind of like, no. So for Arms Warrior, I do think these. So, okay, Ring of the Bronze Dragonflight. Very easy ring to go grab. You go talk to the dragon in front of the portal for where, like, TBC land starts, yeah. He's the dragon down in, I think, Sandland. What is that? Is that Silithus? No, Silithus is to the left. Tenaris, the big bronze dragon in Tenaris. You go talk to him after you get a certain rep, and he gives you this ring. The crit ring is strong, too, honestly. If you wanted more crit, the rings you get a bit of a freedom to play around a bit. it won't hurt you as much as like your other big pieces, but you still want to stay to your tenets of big stamina and crit out of it. This one doesn't have crit, but it's got 26 attack power and 24 stamina, and I'm getting +7 defense out of it. I really like this one. Honestly, I could probably switch it out for that, but then I'm going to lose like 100 health. And it's got +7. It's just so nice to have +7 defense on a ring that gives you 26 attack power. So in my opinion, for a cow, I would believe, and if you have all the other gear I have, these two are BIS. These two rings are BIS. Now, unless you run up upon like a 10-man Frost Mage comp in WSG, then you just put your snowsuit on. Snow rings would be BIS. But yeah, in my opinion, these two rings would be BIS, followed closely by the Ring of the Dreadnought, and then that 14-stam AQ40 or AQ20 ring, and then followed by this 12-stam AQ40 ring. Let me think. Yeah, just being able to get that much stamina. I mean, 28 and 24 stamina here. It's like we're putting another pair of pants on. You see? That's how big having that much stamina is in your ring slots. It's almost worth ignoring every other stat in the name of stamina. You know, but... See, I put my Ring of Dreadnought. And this is why I wear the Signet Ring of the Bronze Dragonflight, right? Sure, I get another percentile of dodge. Where's that at? Sure, 16%, sure. But the problem with dodge, you gotta be facing people. Yeah, it's alright. It doesn't generate rage per se. So I really like just having more defense there where I can parry, and I don't know, it's just not worth the extra dodge there. Alrighty, trinkets. Yes, I do not QSR and QSR, not Karaji. Quick Strike Ring. Yes, you can use Quick Strike Ring. Quick Strike Ring is very good. So I would, yeah, and you know what? The only reason, Corey, I have not named Quick Strike Ring, I actually don't have a Quick Strike Ring. So I've never been able to play around with it, but my understanding of Quick Strike Ring is like, it is a very overtuned item, and if you can get your hands on one, I would rock that, and like if you don't have another ring, throw Don Julio's band on there. Don Julio's is good. I have everything, just not the BWL ring. Yeah. So what you would do, Corey, is you would throw that Ring of the Bronze Dragonflight on, and then you throw QSR. And you're not doing bad with Quick Strike Ring there. I still wouldn't wear a Quick Strike Ring if I had it for my PvP, but that's only because I have, you know, an item piece that has plus 20 stamina on it. But that thing gives you 10 attack power plus the 30, so 40 attack power from your 5 strength is plus 10, and then obviously you get your improved crit strike chance, which is very nice. The only weakness of Quick Strike Ring is pathetic 8 stamina. Other than that, like that is a strong ring. Yeah. So, to trinkets here, we got your Diamond Flask. Obviously, I love having Diamond Flask as my starter trinket. And then, instead of a Sun Release trinket, I just go with Life Giving Gem because stamina. And you always need stamina. So, I like having these two on. Now, when I pop my Diamond Flask, Black Hand's Breath. Really nice trinket for PvP. Takes your crit up another 2%. So, now when we come over and we look at my crit score. What? How's my crit score so low? 24.7. Yeah. So without it, I'm at 22.7. With it, I'm at 24.7. That makes sense. So as soon as I'm done with my Diamond Flask, I come over here, I pop that thing off, and Black Hand's Breath goes on, and then usually a PvP trinket, or maybe badge, or, you know, Title Charm. Something like that. Those are your trinkets. You can really play with your trinkets and everything. Tertiary stuff, you want a Goblin Rocket Helm. They're pretty good. Some rocket boots and stuff. I actually have Gnomish rocket boots just because you never have to like repair them and blow them up. Weapon is Mom. And then range, Soul String is BIS, in my opinion, because you got the plus 6 stamina and the plus 16 attack power on top of the crit. But if you have Blaster Shot Launcher, plus 6 stamina, I'd wear that with the crit. Those are both very good PvP weapons. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's the build. That's the philosophy behind it. That's the gear. Oh, and now itemization for consumes. The last thing. I always have Gordok Green Grog, throw a few more stamina on there, but I buy the major healing pots and I just pop those because they're only like 15 gold for a stack, so it's 3 gold a pop. So I'll have these healing pots right next to my life-giving. I usually pop life-giving and a healing pot. It takes you back up 60-70% of your life. It really just back breaks people. You need a Hyper Radiant Flame Reflector for your mages. And food. Yeah, always have an Alterac Valley Mana Biscuit. Because as a cow with a ton of stamina, you need the premium fuel. You can't go around with regular unleaded and expect your car to fill up its tank here in this analogy. You need to have your premium fuel, which is Alterac Mana Biscuit. It's bis for healing back. 2 of these and you're back to full. The amount of times like I've had to eat two or three pieces of food just to get back to full, waste of time. This goes much faster. Nobody ever uses it, and I've always got some of that on there. And I always keep Sunfruit for just extra. I mean, that's another 20 attack power. So yeah, that's the spec, man. That's the philosophy behind it, and that's how it works. Now, let's see. Is there anyone in AV today? What about Arathis? Arathis should still be going on. Yeah, it is. Okay. So now we're going to go see it in work.